Hi, I'm Richard Burns, and thanks for coming to In the Flow, the channel for spiritual beings about spiritual beings. All of our episodes are embedded with transformational energy. Thus, as you watch, you can receive healing energy.
I'm Monica Dubay, and I'm an energy healer and transformational coach. And, I've been helping a lot of business owners elevate and find out what they're meant to be doing and creating a business that they really love. Also been teaching A Course in Miracles for about 33 years and helping people really awaken and find out who they are and what they're meant to be doing on the planet. So when I was 30 years old, I was in New York City, just gotten married, and I was working in the tech field, but I had a master's in music. I was a classical clarinetist, and I wasn't able to do that for a living, and I started working in the tech field, and after about 3-4 years I got super depressed for about 6 months, and I was just stuck in this place of just not knowing what was going on or what to do. I tried therapy and I tried hypnosis, I tried a bunch of things, but nothing really healed that pain until I found that I could work with my own mind and my own thoughts. And I was reading A Course in Miracles, and it gave me this sense of purpose and that my life could change immediately, and that it has nothing to do with anything else. It was just kind of a sudden revelation that my life has a spiritual purpose, and that I started hearing a voice, and it started speaking to me really loud and clear. And it told me what to do and how to get out of the pain I was in, was to basically quit my job and go and work for Marianne Williamson, who was just coming out into the public really at that time. She hadn't written her first book yet. And I was just on this path of listening to the voice, and it would tell me these things, and I would go and do them. And so it was pretty cool. It was scary at first, but I really realized I had a very deep spiritual connection. When I started to really feel this sense of something new was happening in my life, like 10 years after I found the Course and I was teaching it, I had a very strong visceral pain in my stomach that wouldn't go away. And I knew it was something spiritual that was happening to me. I had everything I wanted. I had the kids, the house, the money coming in from a hit Broadway show. We had everything was seemingly, happening. But I had pain, and I didn't know what it was. And I ended up going up to an ashram for about 10 days and just chanting with the guru and just listening to my own inner guidance. And I just basically had a huge emotional release over those 10 days. Like every day, just sobbing and letting go, I guess, of my egoic thought system. And after that was over, I was just super happy. Like, it didn't matter what I was doing. It didn't matter that I was stuck at home with the kids every day. Like, I was sweeping my floor, and I just felt completely happy. And within 2 or 3 months, I found my spiritual teacher, who told me that I had died, like my ego had died, and that I was given this next thing to do. And that was to completely, give myself to the program and do the Course in Miracles and teach and go all over the world teaching. So that's what I did. In my awakening, I was lifted out of here, and in 4 days I was just in such a state of bliss and harmony and pure passionate love flowing through my energy system. And that went on for days. So after that, it's almost like, what the heck am I doing here? Like, it's always a question. And the challenge of it is to recognize that I do have a purpose, and that it doesn't have to look like anything specific. Just my being here is helpful. But it's not easy. I think being on the spiritual path is it's the most challenging thing you could do, because you have to face your fear all the time. And you don't always feel like you're with other people who get that. It's affected everything, like how I spend my free time, who I hang out with. I basically stay in circles of people that are doing transformational work, because that's who I can really relate with. I have a huge family. I have 5 sisters and 3 brothers. And, none of them are really, well, a couple of them are kind of on the path, but I just hang out with them and enjoy them. I don't make any demands that anybody do anything that I'm doing. But it's really great to hang out with people that are healing and they're awakening and they're, really committed to helping transform humanity. Well, one client came to me. She was one of my first clients, actually, when I started my healing business or coaching healing business. And she had chronic fatigue, and she was unable to get out of bed. She had 2 little kids. Her husband was working full-time in finance, and she didn't have to work, but she was really lost and stuck, and she had a lot of trauma from her childhood. And I think her mom was bipolar, and she'd been abused. She'd had a lot of old history, not old patterns that she had to release. So within 6 months or so, we cleared a lot of that out, and she was able to really see that she had power over her thoughts and her beliefs and her memories, and a lot of it just shifted really quickly. Within a year, she had started her own business in the CBD oil business. This was probably 4 or 5 years ago when it was first starting out, and now she's doing very well in that health industry. So that was probably one of the most dramatic experiences I had. She's a delight, because she was wide open to everything I was offering her, and she really applied it to her life. So I think it's really the virus especially has brought a lot of us into reality, into what are you really here for, and what do you want to do here. And the idea of people trying to control your choices is really up, and a lot of us are really looking at that, like, what is it that, how are we letting that happen, instead of standing in our light and our sovereign power to not let the systems of the world or the people that are trying to contain this, it's not going to work. It's going to collapse because there are too many people that are really smarter than that and wiser, and we're not going to let it happen. I think that there's a huge surge in the quest for enlightenment and awakening. Yoga, for example, has just blown up in the last 20 years. Spiritual healing has blown up. Transformational coaches, the Landmark Forum, that came in as EST back in the 70s. That's still going strong. I'm actually a supervisor with them. So it's like there's just a need, and people are starting to ask the bigger questions. Especially since the pandemic, people have really started to look like, what's the purpose of my life? What am I doing here? And what does it matter, right? Because if you think you're just going to be here for, coming here for 90 years and you're going to have this little life and you're going to raise your kids and then go off and sit in a nursing home, that's pretty desperate. Like, it's really not a great scenario. And so you have to start to ask yourself the bigger questions. And I think a lot of people are starting to do that now, many more than ever before. And they're starting to question their religion and the beliefs, that they've been raised with. Because if they're still being taught to be afraid of God or afraid of their spirituality or not trust it, I've had people say that to me about the Course, like, well, how do you know that that's the truth and blah, 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 you should be so careful because it could be the devil. And I'm like, what? It has nothing to do with that whole thought system. It's a very different energy of, it's really cosmic rather than something confined to the earth. So it's really my mission to help people wake up and step out of the status quo. And, it's kind of like being a heretic. You just do it the way that it comes to you. And, try to not get into the worrying about whether who's hearing you or not hearing you. The people that are meant to hear you will hear you. So it's my mission to really help people, trust their inner guidance and their intuition, and trust that they have the power to heal and be healed, because we all do.